category of transport vehicle. Now, I could have put these in the fruit category, but I broke them out because they actually technically have their own category in your mod library. When you go in to purchase the mods, this goes under a new category called transport. Now, if you didn't like the Russian equipment in the fruit transport, this is what you want. These are very nice, very well done transporters. You can also change their wheels, so you can get inside and you're like, hey, I want to switch my wheels with M. It might help if I actually choose the truck. And you get road tires instead of off-road tires, and that's really cool. Very nice, does a great job. Add some extra functionality to your vehicles in a way. They come with a couple different trailers. You can close the tops on them. I like it. So again, if you don't like the Russian equipment that we gave in the fruit transport, this is what you want. I put it in a separate category only because it breaks itself out in the mod purchase screen. Technically, you could make a quick edit and put everybody in this category, but that's a different thing altogether. So there you go. This is the transport pack. Flygel transport pack, to be exact. The category of plow was very lonely. We had a Lemken plow. I think we did in like the second episode or something like that. This one's very dirty for reasons if it's been sitting in a field. There is a small problem with this plow. It actually has no shop picture, so it's kind of weird and wonky to try to deal with. It's fine other than that. It's very simple to make relatively simple to make the edit, to put the picture in. I'd say do it, and then it's a decent plow. Am I really sold on it over the in-game equipment? Not really. I'm not going to give it an award because it really needs that picture. That's a simple thing any mod author should have picked up on. Oh, I don't have a picture in my store. I need to fix that. But they didn't, so I'm not going to give it an award. I would say it's a honorable-ish mention. Slightly less than that. Slightly honorable mention. We'll go with that. This category is the category of transports, I'm going to say. I mean, it's kind of a strange category. Kind of became a grab bag relatively quickly. So we have this Harley-Davidson motorcycle trailer. That's a transporter for wheeled equipment. You probably could get some lift equipment in it as well. I don't really like it all that much, but it's functionally okay. It has some little extras here and there. I just don't care for the Harley-Davidson motorcycle logo on the side. I'm a farmer. I'm not a Harley vendor. There's that. We have the doll trailer here. Now, this doll trailer is interesting in that the split between the back and the neck actually is functionally using the left mouse button and sliding. So it actually does a pretty good job. It's okay. This thing here was an absolute ruddy mess to get it to work properly. It didn't actually do a very good job, and I ended up... basically, you need the trailer or the truck that this comes with, which is one of those terrible Kenworth trucks that we... in the semi category. So if you don't have that, this doesn't really work all that great. This does work with everything, including Peterbilt and in-game trucks, but if you need it, it's there. I don't think it's the best out there. It actually has an issue here where, notice I kind of fall into something here. There's actually a little hole there. It can catch some of your smaller equipment. This IFA, I thought this thing was going to be amazing, and I was like, yay, IFA, you're amazing. And then I kept noticing something as I was driving this thing around. I'd park it somewhere, and then I'd be like, why are there lights over there? What is going on? And then I realized those lights are actually supposed to be on the back of this IFA, but they're all the way over there. Nice, huh? Yeah, so boo. It's an i3D edit to move those, and that's a little bit more advanced than most people are willing to get, and I don't blame them. Other than that, it's not a bad vehicle. It's just the stupid lights are wonky. Maybe there's an update out there now that fixes that. If so, then it's probably something to consider if you have a Russian map. Otherwise, maybe not. There's another doll trailer. Now, this one actually has a fully detachable neck from the trailer Comes with the Peterbilt 388, I think. It's same color as this doll trailer. Well, you can't really tell. The doll trailer is kind of dirty because it's been sitting over here for so long. But the thing is, it only works with that particular truck, and that truck has a terrible camera. Trying to use any other truck, the neck flicks around like crazy. I just didn't enjoy this at all. Not really sold on it, honestly. I'm not sold on it at all. This flatbed, for a long time I was like, this flatbed's amazing. I like this flatbed, but then I had a problem with the flatbed. It has the gravity well locking script. So kind of like the in-game trailer where there's no lock, but there's more of a gravity well. Something gets within the gravity well and it's considered locked. The problem is the gravity well for this trailer is so tall that when I tried to crane stuff onto the trailer, it would literally get stuck feet above the trailer and it would take forever to get it to release from the trailer. If you're loading bales, I can see it. If you're loading maybe a header where you approach from the side, okay. If you're trying to load from the top using a crane, not so much. No, it's not working for me. That brings us to this one. This is the M1070A, or the Hemet. Now, technically the Hemet, the actual M1070, the truck itself, would go over in semis. But here's the thing. It's so specialized to what it does, and it really needs its trailer to truly get the grasp of it. I sort of brought it over here. I have problems with the truck itself. The interior is crap, but it works really, really well. I put a lot of weight on this truck, and I was able to climb the hill in this Texas map without too much problem. The only time it really slowed down is when I put the tracked John Deere on the back, along with I used the hoist to hoist another heavy tractor onto the back sideways behind the tracked John Deere. And that's it. This thing slowed down to 10 miles an hour going up the hill. And I actually was like, well, you know, that actually makes sense. Given that, I'm going to give this category to the Hemet, but with the caveat that it's really not the best for every map. So just take that into account. I do like it for maps like this or any other large scale map. It kind of makes sense. You'll basically move anything unless it has a really slow acceleration. Anything really slow that can't make it up the ramp is going to be a problem. You'll have to figure out how to deal with it. But yeah, this category goes to the M1070A. I'd say the IFA on the right there, if it gets fixed, is a good thing for an old Russian map. The trailers, you can make your own decision, but I don't care for any of them. Well, the category of cedar was also very, very kind of boring. We had one cedar at the very end. The Great Plains cedar. It's been sitting out in the field longer than the plow, and it's not dirty. So that either means it's not getting dirty or I've gone crazy. No, I don't think it gets dirty, actually. It's not a bad cedar at all. It isn't, whoops, we fell into it. It's an inexpensive cedar relative to its size, and it's a decent size cedar, and it'll fold pretty nicely for you. I wouldn't say it's bad. I wouldn't say it's great. I'm going to give it an award because it functionally does its job. I just wish it had more, honestly. Cedars is a tough category for Farm Sim. For some reason, everyone just reskins stuff. So I like the fact that this Great Plains is different. The category of cultivator. We got this John Deere cultivator. I think it was the last episode we pulled this guy out. And it's not a bad cultivator. It's a decent sized cultivator. Price feels about right. Looks pretty good. It's getting dirty, sitting out here in the field. It's actually the last thing I hauled out here. So it actually makes sense that it's just getting dirty. I see nothing wrong with it. I'm going to give it the award because it was the only cultivator we had, but more than that, it actually feels like a good cultivator. I've had cultivators before that just don't feel right. This one feels pretty darn good. So, I mean, I could complain about these wheels here not being perfectly round, but it's not as bad as some of the things that I've seen, and it functions and it works, and that's good. So there you go. Award for the John Deere cultivator, the only one we had. This is an interesting category. I call it the unique tractor category because I really didn't know what to do with these guys. These weren't technically classic tractors or modern tractors. They weren't technically swap bodies. I wasn't really sure what to do with them. These are the Transidors. These are a tracked Transidor and a wheeled Transidor, and then they have a bunch of attachments. That's the cultivator attachment. We got the mower attachment, the fertilizer attachment, the spare attachment, the tedder attachment, the weight attachment, and the seeder attachment. It's a bunch of different pieces of kit. They're really complex, but at the same time simple machines. You kind of lift up and go, you put the things on so you can swap them out. So it's relatively inexpensive to buy all the pieces, and you'd have a seeder and a mower and a cultivator and a windrower, or is that a tedder? Can't remember. Sprayer, fertilizer, all the things you need. They have some minor log errors, but it's very clean upable, I believe. If you're looking for a interesting thing to add to your playthrough, or if you want some inexpensive multi-purpose machinery, I'd say check out the Transidor. I'm not really going to give it an award, because I'm not sure how functional it is in the bigger term, but I'm going to certainly give it what I would probably call an honorable mention. But they're interesting. Worth checking out if you want this kind of thing. Logging. Always an interesting category. I think it's one of the... I was looking at Mod of the Year stuff, and I think this is one of the largest categories, which makes sense because it's brand new to Farm Sim 15. What you're looking at here is pieces of packs and then one standalone. So here's a Zill truck that goes with the Zill pack. It's a perfectly functional piece of equipment and certainly something you could look at. And then this is a Ural, which goes with the Ural pack. Also functional. I don't have a problem with this one because I think the paint is too brilliant versus the kind of rusty bumper there. I would have expected everything to be a little bit like dinged up and rusted up and stuff. Especially the paint on the trailer back there and the bed. I mean, that's like brilliant colors. But they're not bad. And if you take those packs, you'll get these vehicles, and they're not terrible. The standalone is this Timber Runner here, which I like the fact that they smartly put the crane in the middle here so you can load both sides with the logs. You are limited in log size now, but you can get quite a load here. The one thing I don't like is, see that light? It's on. Farm Sim still has a problem with light cones, so sometimes that can cause a problem. Not always, but sometimes. Now, the other pack we have is the pack that includes the Kurovitz front loader, but also this wonderful harvester, Russian harvester equipment. It includes this Gaz truck, and it includes this Ural. And they are gorgeous. This Ural by itself is just a gorgeous piece of kit. Look, the engine shakes. That's a lot of work to go through the... Oh, I'm going to make the engine shake. 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6. Turn those lights off. There we go. So we can actually see the engine shaking. I can put the sidewall on. It actually changes the shadow structure of the light going through the engine area. I love that. You can turn the mirrors on and off as necessary, so you don't have to run mirrors if you don't want to. The Gaz... similar thing. It's not quite as beautiful, perhaps, but it's certainly... Let's see if I can get up there again. Come on, let me up there. Woo! There we go. Certainly, it's a very nice looking truck. A lot of attention to detail has been done on both of these. The rack on the Ural extends out to 15 feet, so you can take a full 15-foot log, which is the maximum cutting length of this guy over here. This thing is slow as molasses on a cold winter's day. So you're going to need to have a trailer to haul it. You've seen me do this in the Volga map if you've been watching that Let's Play. This pack, this Russian forestry pack, by and large, takes the win on the forestry logging category because it's just so well done. The attention to detail on the trucks alone sells it to me. All right, time for another one of those categories that's likely to get me in trouble, the harvester category. First, we're missing a harvester. That would be the Class Dominator 85. That thing was a pile of crap. When you bought it, it had an invisible box that would be spawned in underneath it. You could never truly get it off of the box. And if you did manage to get it off the box, the random box just stayed. So don't even bother with that one. I've included the link for reasons I can't remember. We also had a lot of stuff that had some serious log error. So let's start with what we have. Starting on the left-hand side, we have a class console. Then we had the Cat Challenger 680B pack. Then we had there's a class Lexion, oh, well, crud. Is that the 600 or the 700? Or the 800? No, 700? What are you? 600. Class Lexion 600. Yes, it is. Then we had you like that? I have no idea what I have anymore. Then we had this is the Akros. Yes, that's the Akros. Then we had the other Russian one, which was the Palesi, something like that. Then we had the New Holland CR pack, which was 4 New Hollands. Then over there we have the Class Lexion 750. And then we have a Class Lexion 780 TT. And then at the end here we have the Bizone Z020, which thanks to the crane and lift, we actually were able to put it on a trailer instead of trying to find a tractor it fit on. All right. Let's start with log errors, because that actually has some serious consequences here. The Acros 530 has some serious log errors in it. The Dominator we already talked about. The Class Lexion 750 has some serious log errors in it. The New Holland CR pack has some serious log errors. And the Palase HS12 has some serious log errors. The Cat Challenger 680B has some minor log errors. The Class Lexion 600 has some minor log errors. The Class Lexion 780 TT has some minor log errors. And the Class Console has some minor log errors. If you're paying attention, I just listed everything but the Bizone Z020. Literally, every single one of these has something wrong with them. Now, the Cat Challenger, the Class Lexion 600, and the 780 TT, those are all, and the Class Console, those are all fixable issues with some editing skill. The rest of them are like Lua script errors, raw texture errors, i3D problems. So deeper problems that you really have to dig into the system to get them to work. That always annoys me, because if you don't feel comfortable digging around inside of somebody's mod to try to figure out what's wrong with it, you're not going to have as much fun. It's also going to degrade the performance of your game. When I'm not running fraps, I get about 45 frames per second standing here. I should be getting a solid 60. If I turn around and look, if I turn and look south, so I get these guys out of my view, it'll immediately jump to 60. So truly, these vehicles being here causes a problem. And if you are really paying attention, you might notice that these things appear when I'm far away from you, which means their load distance, their loading distance is actually too far, which is causing frame rate problems. In the end, I'm going to say the award goes to the Bizone Z020 for a couple reasons. One, it has no errors, which is pretty darn good. Two, it is unique. The fact that it is a tractor-mounted harvester that requires a lot of manual work is beautiful to me. I love that. The Class Console, if it was clean, would have been a close second. Modern harvesters are so technically strong, it's hard to really get excited about them. So I love the older equipment. Your mileage may vary, but I would say check out the Bizone Z020. You will need to get a small old tractor to run it, though. I will say that much. Okay, you can now be angry in the comments about which harvester I didn't choose. Always a fun category, that of runabouts, because, ooh boy, these can cause some issues. So let's start with the Poop Award. The Poop Award, by and large, goes to this stupid Toyota Hilux that I went flying off a cliff. I flung it off a cliff, and then I had to go find the stupid thing. I was trying to fling it out of the map, but it didn't work. It's a stupid, absolutely stupid mod. To get it over here, I couldn't even drive it because it's been so... It's got like 200 km/h speeds. It's got this thing going on. I mean, what is that? And it wouldn't get any traction, so I actually hauled it over here with one of the other runabouts. Yeah, that's a poop. The other poop goes over here to these Fords. This one particularly is interesting in that I think it's right door, so it's left alt. Keypad 9? Yeah. Nope, 7. There, that one. Yeah, that's a thing. I mean, that totally should happen to every truck that you own, and then you got the Ford badge that comes out here. Yeah, cute. This one I actually found. Look, there's a Ford badge. It's not even on the truck. Yeah, isn't that nice? The wheels also look stupid. The Raptor, it's okay, but I wouldn't even bother. Just ignore all of those. This bush truck, it looks good. The problem is its speed with Farm Sim's engine. So its speed 347 kilometers an hour. Sorry, I had to go behind a tree to see that. 347 kilometers an hour in Farm Sim. I know speed-wise it's probably accurate in real life, but Farm Sim's engine doesn't handle that very well. You go flying into space. So, boo. It's not poop, but boo. That leaves the rest of these guys. Whew. So I'm going to give, it's a tough one here. The Chevy had a problem, I know. I've got the UAZ in my Volga map, but it's not a super amazing thing. It fits with the Volga map. It's okay. The Land Rover goes a little bit too fast for my liking, but it's got a lot of extras. I do like with this guy here that with M or N, I can open up the sides like that. And it also has a refueling script. So I can see like, oh, look, repairables. And it looks really cool. It's a neat functional thing that adds to the map. I wish that it had more to it. If it had more, it would be amazing. I mean, when you look at something like this guy, I think it's 789. Is that not it? Keypad O. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's left control. There we go. When you look at comparing it against something like that has all that extra bits, it's kind of hard to take it, but it's not terrible. The Mercedes, not terrible, but oh my God, I hate those things. It's just a personal dislike for Mercedes. It's not a terrible runabout. Did I miss anybody? Oh yeah, the good ones, the winners, the Dodge Power Wagons. These are actually how I got the Hilux over here. The winch actually works, and I winched onto that Hilux and I hauled its butt over here because it was the only way I was getting it over here. Both these Power Wagons, beautiful pieces of equipment. Again, I can keep at 0. Is it left control? No, it's just 79. There we go. I turned that on. There we go. So you can open up all that. I thought I could open up the hood. Probably can, but can't remember. Oh yeah, slash. There we go. So you can truly have a nice Dodge Power Wagon. This one will haul grains and all that in the back. It also is UPK equipped, which is great if you have the fruit mods or anything like that. That's a service truck that has fuel and all those goodies. And the winches work. That's the best part. They're the winners. So Dodge Power Wagons are the winners. The F-150 pack, poop. Hilux, poop. The Bush truck, eh. And the rest of them are just average, I would say. Just average. Another new category, the category of motorbikes, because we had enough of them and I felt like they kind of necessitated a separate category from runabouts because they have a different functional spec, sort of. We have the Can-Am, which, if you look carefully, you might see me running around with. We have the Harley Davidson, we have the Kawasaki, we have the Vespa, and then we have the Piaggio. The middle three don't actually do anything. They're just truly runabouts. But that being said, they're fast. Well, not the Vespa, but the other two are fast. They're inexpensive, and they quickly get you to your destination. The lean over on them is ridiculously crazy, but you can kind of play with them, and I can see them being used for quick running around, especially maybe on a multiplayer map where you might need to run to help somebody and you have a Kawasaki or a Harley or something like that. It'd be interesting, worthwhile to look at. The Can-Am here actually has a hitch unit on the front and on the back. Now, it doesn't have a 3-point, but you can push some of your smaller trailers. It can haul some of the trailers that you have. So it's a good little piece of kit. I do like that your guy doesn't change his clothes when he gets on it. I mean, when you get on it, it's just a farmer sitting on a bike. So I like that. And it fits with like ranching. A lot of the ranches around here, they use quad bikes or four-wheelers, whatever you want to call it, to run around to take care of fences or things like that. So it's a good American map vehicle. And then we have this cute little ape car, or ape car, if you want to call it that. Ape is what it really is. Now, the cool thing about this thing is, turn on help. Hey, look, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 with left control. Look at that. Which one is the, not the plus, the slash. Nope, that one. Oh, wait. Nope, that. Flip those up. Look at that. We can put a little thing on the back. So it becomes an actual transport vehicle. Now, a few things. This thing is completely unstable. You can actually see that in the episode where I reviewed it and I flipped the thing around in circles. But if you drive it carefully, which I don't ever drive anything carefully, it's great for like a small map if you're doing a little bit of UPK fruit work, because it carries all the UPK stuff. You saw in the help that it also would carry like a pallet, a single pallet. So if you're in a small farm and you need a small vehicle, this would be a great inexpensive option to put in your farm and get some real use out of it. I mean, in Italy, they still use these things. So it kind of fits in Farm Sim. Now, who wins? That's the question. Who wins? When it comes down to it, I'm looking at full mechanics, and it's going to go to the Can-Am. And the reason it's going to the Can-Am is because the Piaggio Ape car doesn't have quite the stability I want. I know in real life you're going to potentially flip one of these things, but it just feels a little bit too much. And part of that is Giant's engine. I just feel the Can-Am is a better all-around piece of equipment, but the Ape car is so close. I probably both of these are going to go on to compete for the Mod of the Year stuff. But I would take those two in a heartbeat over the three in the middle, unless you just need truly a cheap, inexpensive point-to-point runabout. Before we go into the last couple categories, which of course will get me yelled at in all kinds of ways, let's talk a bit about this map, the Texas map. It does actually have some serious log problems. The map itself is actually pretty good. There's some weird janky texture things going on here and there, but I think that's partially the way that I've installed Farm Sim. But overall, it's not a bad map. It's a very large map. I will say that much. Field 13 is unbelievably large. It's got a lot going for it. It's got a very small forestry segment. There's a little bit of forestry. I can't get to view my mouse, but there's a little bit of forestry south of the cows and sheep, and a little bit of forestry to the west of the well, you saw when I did the semis. It's where the semis are in the sawmill. Other than that, it's actually a pretty darn good-looking map. I'm not a huge fan of it, only because I like more variety. But I wouldn't say it's a bad map. If you're looking for a large American-style map with some very square fields, this is certainly one to check out. It would be very difficult to manage this with the pivot sprayers. So soil mod would be very difficult with a map this size. Good multiplayer map, perhaps. That would be something to think about. Multiplayer would certainly be a worthwhile thing for this map. So that's the Texas map. Check it out if you're interested in large American farming. Classic tractors. We're missing some. We're missing the Dutra D4K B1000s because they dance so badly. I hate them so much. So they just didn't make it out. Some people said, oh, that is to do with drive control, which I always use drive control. And here's my thing. If you can't work with something as simple as drive control, I don't want you in my game. Simple as that. We have the Ursus C360. On the right here. Next to that, we have the Vladimirek T25. I probably mispronounced that, but well. We have the Big Bud 16V. We have the HTZ 17022 XT3. That's a mouthful in and of itself. And then we have the Forestry ZT303 or ZT303 if you prefer that. This was actually really tough. Well, to some degree. First, the Dutras obviously are trash, so we're getting rid of them. The Ursus. I hate the Ursus. Now, here's the thing. If you reset the Ursus, it respawns a new vehicle. It doesn't reset. It tells you, oh, your farm is too full. I can't reset it, but it spawns a new vehicle. Then, if you try to deal with the fact you have these two vehicles, it crashes your game. Or it did in my case. I hate that thing. Also, it spins around in circles and doesn't stay still. People say, again, oh, that's drive control. Come on, work with drive control. It's simple. Don't like it. The Foreskrits have minor log errors, as does the Vladimir Tech T25. Both of them are cleanable. But if I have two things that have no issues, I'm going to focus on those two. So the race is really down to between Big Bud and the HTZ. The fact that Big Bud even shows up in this after the disaster of the first Big Bud in Farm Sim 13 is amazing. Here's the thing. If somebody really, really, really took the time to go through this Big Bud model and add more detail, if they were to detail out the engine, if they were to, I don't know, clean up the interior, make the gauges work, that would be cool. If they were to do those kind of things, I think Big Bud would be an absolutely amazing piece of equipment. It only has a 2-point hitch. I wouldn't call that a 3-point. This one, you see, 3-point. So it's been modded to allow for 3-point in theory. It shouldn't, but if you have a big American map, I don't know, like Texas, you might want Big Bud. But when it comes down to it, I'm probably going to go with this HTZ. The HTZ looks really good. And, more to the point, we can have 7 and 9. We can open up doors. Yay! It's little things like that. I mean, the fact that you open doors, that really makes me happy. And then you can see, oops, if I get right into the right spot, I can hit R to add the front. Yay! It's stuff like that that allows me to interact with my tractor that I really like. Now, these Foreskrits allow you to interact with them. You can open and close the doors. But their minor log errors kind of bother me. And I can't put my finger on what else it is, but there's something else that bothers me about them. So I'm going to give this to the HTZ. What is this? 17022 XT3. Now, some of you might say, Dare, it's not a classic tractor. It looks like it, so it's going in classic tractors. I don't really have a date thing. It's just like, I feel like that's a classic tractor. There you go. Modern tractors. Quite the collection here. And one of them that's dancing around. Shocker there. All right. We'll start with the one that's hiding behind the one that's dancing. That's the Fendt Vario 1050. The one that's facing us dead on down there on the right-hand side. That's the Dusfar Agro Plus 77. Then we have the John Deere 6920S. That's the next two. Then the next two are John Deere 5080Ms. Then we have a, what is that thing? That's a Zetor. Is that a Zetor? No, that's the Valtra T163. Then we have the Zetor Forterra HSX 1040. Then we have the John Deere 8430T. Somewhere, I swear, I have an IMT as well. Oh, there it is, right there. It's wandered back into the back. That is an IMT 2090. Again, some of you might say, Dare, some of those belong in classics. Yeah, I know. I just sort of pick and choose. Leave me alone. Let's deal with the ones that have log errors. That would be these two. The Valtra and the Zetor both have major log errors. They're not... again, it's Lua errors that should be simple-ish fixes if you're comfortable with Lua. Most people are not. So I'm going to say if you really, really need them, grab them. But I'd probably see if there's new versions out there. These two dance because this is not where they were parked. I don't like that. I'm going to dump the Agro Plus and the IMT. I don't like either one of them because they move around. That's a problem. So that leaves us with the beautiful Fendt. We'll get in our Fendt really quick. get in our Fendt really quick because we can open up, take things off. We can turn on windshield wipers. I mean, who doesn't want windshield wipers to be on? I can turn on this little thing over here. I've got a backloader console on this thing that allows me to flip my seat around and actually control a front loader on the back of the vehicle, so a backloader. Beautiful engine design as well. So very nice looking vehicle. It also comes with those extra wheels and weights, which I didn't bother to buy. We have the 6920. The nice thing about the 6920, by the way, is you approach it and you open your door like that. Oh, that's very nice. So I do like that. It's got the steering wheel and I can open stuff and I can press on front parts, and so I can open up a bunch of things. Nice looking, well done, like the modeling on that. The 5000Ms, it's a little bit less. So we have, I'm trying to find where my IC point is. Oh, there it is right there. There it is, missing. Yeah, that's the only IC point on this thing. That really kind of bummed me out. I was just like, oh, that's not as fun. And then we had these 8000 series. And if I get inside, we can do this and this. We can turn on our little green thing. And I believe if I approach, is it approach from the outside that I open this thing? I can't remember. Or is it inside? Can't remember. Oh, no, it's over here. It is open the hood, open the front arms, open the back window. There we go. Another beautifully detailed engine. Absolutely beautiful. One thing that I'd say is this one doesn't have a spinning fan. That kind of made me sad. So it's those John Deeres, beautiful. These John Deeres, very nice. I wouldn't say they're beautiful. And then the Fendt. Okay. And then the 5000 series, which technically are fine. I would say right now, the fight is between the Fendt on the right and the John Deeres on the left. The 5000 series John Deeres are fine, but not spectacular. The 6000 series John Deeres are good, but again, not spectacular. It's the spectacular attention to detail of the Fendt and the 8000 series John Deere. And it's so spectacular that they're both going to win the category. I don't have a way to really say, well, one is better than the other, because they're both absolutely wonderful. If you want a tracked John Deere, you can't go wrong with those 8000 series. They are very large downloads, 100 and something megs in a zip. That's a very large download, but they're very detailed. The Fendt, if you don't like John Deere and you can stomach a Fendt, go with this Fendt. Beautiful engine design as well. Hopefully the mod author or authors will model some more tractors with this level of attention to detail, because if they do, those will be amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right, so those are your winners for modern tractors. I know, it's a shocker, right? The beautiful ones. All right, so we've hit the end. Remember, there is a link in the description that will take you to the spreadsheet that has all of the fourth quarter mods and whether I like them or not, which ones I give awards to, etc., etc., etc. Also, coming up, mods of 2015. You're probably going to want to check that one out. Also coming up, something special on January 1. You're probably going to want to check that out. I promise you're really, if you're a farm sim mod person, you really want to pay attention to the January 1 video. I'm just saying. Okay? We clear? Good. All right. That's been our fourth quarter mods. We got some beautiful tractors, 2 beautiful tractors. We have an interesting couple of old tractors. I mean, you can't go really wrong with a big bud other than it needs some detail work. I think modders are starting to finally get their feet underneath them, but is it enough to make Farm Sim 15 worth it going into 2016? Don't know. Till next time. Well, until the year show, the 2015 retrospective show. Game on and be awesome, everybody.